Good evening and welcome to our Thursday evening gathering around this table of love. Spiritual gardening for the soul. Sounds good, doesn't it? And I noticed that dear Miriam and Molly have joined us from New Zealand, where it is now Friday morning. And from what Sister Miriam said, it's not a very sunny day as we had here in the United Kingdom, but we hope it will be a blessed day. So welcome to those who've not logged in. You're more than welcome, indeed. So let us just begin by just taking time out to be still in the presence of God, and to know that you are loved and that you and I are here for a purpose. So let us just relax and enjoy coming into the presence of love. Be still. Be still. Be still and know that God is here. And no matter how we may be feeling, how many times we may be stretched or challenged in this amazing journey of love, we are not alone, because we are surrounded by angelic beings of love. And we don't have to see them to believe in them. We know they're there. And even loved ones, soulmates, anamkaras, who've crossed over, who left an imprint on our heart. And though physically they're not present, but karmically and spiritually, they're very much a part of us. They're in the air that we breathe. They're in those solitary moments of stillness. So let us welcome our beloveds who've crossed over. Let us invite them to come and join us, and just sense their presence, their peace, and their love. I'm going to begin by reading to you from John O'Donoghue, To Bless the Space Between Us. It is a beautiful book. He has written many books, all rooted in the beautiful ancient Celtic spirituality of a beautiful land. But his work was finished on earth, and it was his time to go home, to begin another work. And I believe that other work is to shepherd you and me, to shepherd us in our journey, and to take care of us. And he shares this. The Jewish tradition believed that time had its own psychic seasons. In the book of Ecclesiastes, there is a list of the correspondences between certain events and their proper time. For example, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rent and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Beautiful words, but what are they saying to your soul? What are you feeling right now? Well, this is what John says. Before it occurs, a beginning me a long time in preparation. And this is why some beginnings take off with great assuredness, and one can instinctively recognize that the right direction had been chosen. Without any struggle, one enters into a fluency that seemed to have been waiting one's choice. Other beginnings are awkward and slow, and it takes considerable time before the new path opens or welcomes one. Sometimes beginnings can catch us unawares, and often when something is ending, we discover within it the spore of a new beginning, and a whole new train of possibility is in motion before we even realize it. When the heart is ready for a fresh beginning, unforeseen things can emerge. And in a sense, that is exactly what a beginning does. It is an opening for surprises, like being here, like coming into the presence of God. There's a sense of expectancy. The heart calls us. We listen and we follow what it says to us. And as we quietly wait in the stillness of this hour, there is an expectancy that God is present, that God is here. Surrounding the intention and the act of beginning, there are always exciting possibilities. This inevitably excites artists. So much can actually happen between the moment the brush is taken into the hand and the moment it touches the canvas. Such beginnings have their own mind, and they invite and unveil new gifts and new arrivals in one's life. Beginnings are new horizons that want to be seen. They are not regressions, nor are they repetitions. Somehow they can win clearance and become fiercely free of the grip of the past. What is the new horizon in you that wants to be seen? What is this new horizon? Well, let us just reflect on that. Because you and I are given the same opportunities as everyone else to embrace a new beginning, a new horizon. Some are willing to step out in faith with no guarantees that all will be well. Because if we had those guarantees, it wouldn't be a gift of faith, would it? Faith is that inner knowing that when your inner voice tells you to take that leap in trust You do it, you know intuitively that there will be a blessed beginning, that it will be a new horizon, opening up your heart to many blessings. But I guess the mind, the ego, always wants to be uno ono, top dog. And it's true today of many on the spiritual path. They know what their inner voice is saying, but either they haven't got the courage, or they're afraid, or their friends put them off, or they listen to their inner voice for a second opinion, and before they know it, they're like a tornado. They're going round and round and round. So it's important that you and I stay focused, and that we trust what we hear, we trust what we are given, and it doesn't matter what others think. It doesn't matter what the Queen of England thinks, or the Pope in Rome, or His Holiness the Dalai Lama, because they're not accountable to God for you. You are accountable to God for you. And I guess that's been one of the negative impositions placed upon many of us, where we grew up in an environment where we were told to believe in things that didn't resonate. We were empowered to take on other people's ideologies that didn't resonate. And then there comes a time, a breakthrough. And often that breakthrough comes from a breakdown, a loss. It could be the loss of a loved one. It could be the loss of something very dear to you. It could be your health, loss of a job, loss of your home, material possessions. And it brings you to a place where you have to ask, what is happening to me? Why is this happening to me? What is my heart trying to tell me? Instead of going round and round and round. You and I are very privileged, to say the least, because you and I have been given a gift, a very precious gift, the gift of faith. And we have been given the tools to nurture that faith, practical tools, where we can come into our garden, our sacred oasis, our cathedral of God, and we can just quietly be still and let nature and the animal kingdom speak to us. And guess what? They do. Because as you sit quietly in your sacred space, you relax because of the beauty, the tranquility, the serenity, and that awesomeness brings you back to a place that empowers you to declutter, to get rid of all non-essentials. So let us just come for a little walk into the monastery garden. Let us just be aware that you and I weren't just planted on earth for a season. We were planted here as a vortex of love. First to receive that love, and then to share that love. We cannot tell someone we love them if we despise ourselves. We cannot say to someone, I love you, but hate oneself, or always questioning one's physical appearance. God made us in the image and likeness of God. We may not like our ears, our nose, our hairstyle, or even our physical attributes. I think the time has come for the spiritual worker to take their eyes off the physical appearance and stop making excuses. And when they look in the mirror of life, to see what God sees. To see what God sees. So in this garden, you come to an illusion, a mirrored image of you. And you see yourself. How do you respond? Do you respond with utter regret for wasted years? Do you look at yourself with low self-worth, where there is no self-respect? Do you condemn yourself for not being like the person next door who's dynamic, lots of friends, out partying every night, drives a posh car, loaded with money? Their physical appearances. They may be spending too much time running away, whereas you and I are making time to see what God sees. And it doesn't involve a bank account. It doesn't involve investing money. It doesn't involve having an expensive wardrobe of Armani and Gucci. All it involves, are you willing to look into your eyes and see the eyes of God? Are you willing to look at you through the eyes of God? Are you willing to say to yourself, I bless you because you are, I am a child of God? As you look into this mirror, you may have been unnerved, troubled, but as you look closer, you see a figure behind you coming through the orchard, walking towards you, and you know who it is. It is your friend, your teacher, the beloved. It is Jesus. And he comes to you from behind, and there's such excitement in his heart because he knows you're here. And he leans over you, places his arms around you, and he looks in the mirror with you and says, aren't you amazing? Aren't you an amazing child of God? Look what our God has done for you. You are made in the image and likeness of God. And he says, but you dare to question God's handiwork. And he says, each time you condemn yourself, each time you punish yourself by allowing fear, negativity, and all those negative values corrode your heart, you are alienating yourself from the divine. You are placing yourself on a parapet of disaster. So he says, look again, because I'm looking at you through you. And you can see his eyes. You can see the eyes of Jesus, bright, like Andromeda, Pleiades. And there is such love in those eyes. And his eyes do not condemn you. He doesn't look you up and down as if you're something under his shoe. He embraces you. He caresses you. And he's trying to affirm you that you are perfection, that you were created in perfection in the eyes of God. Stay with those feelings. And whenever you get the feeling of punishing yourself or condemning yourself or putting yourself down, or worse still, allowing others put you down, remember this moment when Jesus looked through you and told you that you're awesome, that you are awesome, because you're created in the image and likeness of God. As you sit back and relax, you are aware of the tenderness of Jesus right behind you. You feel his love, you sense his love. And he affirms you by standing beside you, not in criticism, but in love. And he empowers you to look again into the mirror and to see what God created in you, and your inner voice of spirit is saying something to you. I'm prevented from telling you what that is because you have to ask to receive. So let us ask now, in this sacred moment, in the miracle of now, in the presence of Jesus, ask so that you will receive. And be aware that all around you, the creation of God is in adoration of the divine in you. Our beautiful pets are with us, and they're part of our inner beauty because they bring out from us our suffering. They take on board our suffering, and their selfless, unconditional love allows us to self-heal, for they do not condemn, do they? They affirm by just looking at us and by being there next to us. As I'm sure dear Molly is with dear Sister Miriam, purring away because Molly feels safe with her mom. Molly trusts her mom, and her mom trusts Molly. As it is with me and our pets here. They know I love them. They know I do. They know I do. And I know they love me too. And our dear friend Nirmala, whom I haven't seen here for quite some time, her two little birdies love her too, as does Sister Sue's beautiful little birdies. They trust us. And the times when we join Sister Eleanor for Vespers in an evening, we can hear Brother Chewy standing guard, protecting his mom. Yes, protecting his mom. And he's only tiny, but he's the noisiest little boy because he's singing God's praises as you are here. So let us sit now and relax in the presence of God, who has no agenda, only to love you, and asks you now, will you allow the divine spark in you to embrace the divine in your heart? As you look into that mirror, you should now be seeing the eyes of God. And you are in that presence because you are God, made in the image and likeness of God. Relax. As you breathe in now, breathe in the very breath of God. And in your out breaths, breathe out that love. And share that love with those around you. We may not have the energy or the strength to be great missionaries like many of the great saints, but right now, you and I can do just as good, if not greater, by sitting in the presence of God and by blowing out to the world the love that you receive and sharing that love through human kindness. Be still. Be still. Be still in that knowledge that you are an awesome child of God. Awesome. Loved. I'm going to close with a beautiful quote from Sister Stan from our amazing book Gardening the Soul for the last day of March, as we bring the curtain down on March, when Jesus said to the blind man, "What do you want me to do for you?" He replied, without the slightest hesitation, he said, "I want my sight." And Jesus said, "Your sight is restored." The blind man was prepared to receive. He was open to extraordinary possibility. He was open to the miracle of hope. In all things, one receives only in accordance with what one has given. So there I leave you, and I thank you for being here. I wish you a blessed night, or in the case of dear Miriam in New Zealand, a beautiful day. And I trust that our time of sharing has reawakened in you that awesomeness that you are loved. Good night from the UK. God bless you. Take care. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah. Paxet Bonum. OmShanti. Solo Te Caritas. Salam Alaikum. And may the peace of your God, Goddess, reawaken you to see the awesomeness of God within you. Peace. Peace.